People who like winter, why? I am not sweating in bed anymore. I went to college in upstate New York. My dorm room was super old, and so it had an old school radiator that was super strong. So during the peak of winter, it would be like 0 degrees outside, 20 inches of snow, and I'd have my window open with the furnace blasting heat throughout the room. To this day, that was the best sleep I'd get. The combination of friggin' cold air and intense heat made me fall asleep like a bear. Love me some winter sleeping. Ithaca resident here. You'll be happy to know we still do this from October through May, and the sleep is as glorious as you describe. Nothing beats a warm, comfy wood stove downstairs with a cool bedroom upstairs when it's 10 degrees outside and a full moon snowpack. No mosquitoes. Or insects in general. Except silverfish. Those fuckers invade my home once the outside temperature goes below 5°C. Fall is the beauty of dying. Winter is the peace of death. Ooh, love this gloomy poetic. Edit. Do you have some follow-up for spring and summer? I'll have a go. Fall is the beauty of dying. Winter is the peace of death. Spring brings promises plenty, and summer a fight for each breath. Spring is life anew, summer is spending time with you. Winter air smells so crisp and calm. The cold air on my skin makes me feel alive and inspired, like anything is possible. I can't really explain it. Have you ever walked alone in the woods during a light snowfall? I highly recommend it. Everything is quiet and still, except for the sharp crackle of underbrush under your feet as you walk. It's like being the only person in the world. Sorry, I think my introversion is showing. I'm an introvert, and winter is my favorite season by far. It's so gorgeous, quiet, and still. Winter is cold, so the mosquitoes are dead. The days are shorter, more time in bed. Staying warm by the fire, with the one you desire, and far less restrictions on bread smiley face. It's a break from the heat, yes, the weather's a treat. And the holiday meals, we just eat, and eat. I can dress as I please, I can enjoy the breeze, not to mention the snowmen you'll see down the street smiley face. Just like some people enjoy summer and feel more alive, it is the same for winter. The smell of nature after it rains, the sound of rain, feeling cold. I think part of it is that I prefer night to day, so having a gray weather is heaven, plus winter clothes are prettier and more comfy. I prefer night as well. Don't need hats, sunglasses, sunblock, etc. My clothes stay nice cause they don't get sweaty. The stars are beautiful, and I like seeing the lights around the city and neighborhoods. Because summers get too hot. Especially nowadays. I also like snow. And if you're cold, you can put on more clothes or something. If you're too hot, you're screwed, unless you just want to stay inside with your AC. AC consumes electricity expensive me like winter. Cold Canadian winter has entered the chat. It's a good thing heating is so cheap, ha. Ha ha, sobbing. My allergies aren't bothering me in winter, and I'm not sweating after a 5-minute walk outside. Source. Lives in the south. I enjoy cold weather. Same. Simple as that. I moved from Florida to Vermont 7 years ago, and it's heaven to experience all the seasons, especially fall and winter. I am most alive in the cold. The summer feels suffocating. I'm so jealous. About once a month I suggest to my husband a move up north to Vermont. I'm so tired of the Gulf Coast heat. I was back in Florida visiting family this summer for the first time since I moved away, and it was like a whole entire different world. The heat and humidity is something else. Unrelenting and miserable. After experiencing actual seasons up here, I would rather die than go back to the land of always summer, lol, not to be dramatic. Hopefully one day y'all can make it up here. Closing parenthesis. It's cold, gloomy, and dark. Hot drinks, blankets, comfort, and Halloween less than 3 edit. I know Halloween is fall by the way, but in England winter starts now, we don't talk about autumn, lol. In my experience there are 3 seasons in England, 2 weeks of spring in May, June, 3 weeks of summer, and then winter. Snow. Snowboarding. I hate being hot and I enjoy snow. The sun isn't as bright. The world is quieter. Especially at 3 a.m. There is no pollen in the air. The sun isn't out near as much. People stay indoors more. Fires are nicer in winter. No bugs, don't need to run AC, no lawn or garden work. You can always put extra layers on if it's too cold. You can only take so many off it gets too warm. Skiing. I live in the mountains by world-class skiing, and it's just gorgeous in the snow. Snowshoeing is an easy workout that still feels exciting even if you just go a couple miles around a flat groomed track. Snow-covered pines just do it for me. They are the most beautiful thing in the world to me. Snuggling hardcore without getting sweaty. Soup season. I'm not religious, but I love Christmas. I always get a real tree. Where I live you can chop them down in the national forest for $5. Christmas lights. The quietness at night. Seeing my dog jump around in fresh snow. I grew up in a relatively flat place with somewhat mild winters where it would snow, but not stay around for long. But it was humid and cold, and humid enough to feel cold when you went outside. When it did snow I liked it at first, but since I grew up in a pretty populous area, the snow would just be dirty everywhere really fast, before it melted to dirty slush and eventually went away. I didn't like winter at all. It was cold and wet and dirty and just sucked. Then I moved to somewhere with mountains and intense snowy cold winters, and suddenly I loved winter. There was so much to do between snowshoeing and skiing and ice climbing, and like you said, snow on the pines in the mountains, everything is so quiet and clean, warm foods like soup and stew were so comforting, just an amazing time. Where I lived really made all the difference. It's beautiful. I naturally like the cold. I feel most comfortable in 40 to 50 degrees, so winter is definitely closer. 70 is way too hot for me. The snow is so peaceful and smells wonderful. People don't believe me when I say that snow has a smell. It's hard to describe, but I can smell when it's going to snow, and it's just so crisp and fresh as it's falling and afterwards. Because all the freaking bugs die. You can go out at dusk without being mosquito bait. You can leave your door open for a few minutes without having flies coming in. And seriously, watching big fat snowflakes come down is awesome. Not so awesome to drive in, but nice if you're sitting by a window in front of the fire. I love those nights where there's a nice steady snow coming down, and it's dead quiet. It's very calming. Plus, it's hockey season.